Welcome to the 60 Plus Podcast.
I'm Janet.
And I'm Joe. How are you, Janet?
Very well, thank you.
Very well. Good grammar there, Janet.
Yes, I get brownie points.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
What are we talking about today?
We have a guest.
Yay. I love when we have guests.
when we have guests too. It's always, I don't know, we're fun and we have good conversations, I think, and we give good information. But it's not like having a guest, is it?
It's not. So who's our guest?
Chris Howe.
Chris Howe?
Yes, Chris Howe, and from Chris Howe Yoga.
Okay.
Yeah.
Welcome, Chris.
It's lovely to be here.
Okay, great.
Yeah, it's lovely to have you. We're going to be talking about, I think, yoga, more accessibility to many more people. Like we've covered yoga before and the benefits of yoga in general, but this is more about how really almost anyone can get started in yoga and feel comfortable and really feel the benefits, not just the physical, but the mind connection there. And so Chris knows a lot about this subject, and we're going to let her talk with us about it, and hopefully that will help benefit some of our listeners who have been thinking about coming up with a yoga practice.
So your specialty is adaptive yoga, am I correct?
Well, I am actually a yoga therapist, so that has much more years of study than your typical 200-hour yoga teacher. It goes into utilizing yoga principles to guide folks into solving whatever it is that they need to solve, whether that's physical, mental, emotional, or whatnot. Often we have the tools to do what we need to do. We just don't realize it sometimes. So
how does one become a yoga therapist?
Taking lots and lots of hours of training. So it was a 3-year program, about 1,000 hours. So in addition to the yoga therapy, I've taken some specialty courses, including yoga for seniors through Duke University, adaptive yoga, Matthew Sanford's Mind-Body Solutions, the Veterans Yoga Project. They have a course called Yoga for Trauma and Resilience, which is basically utilized. It's an evidence-based program that accompanies physicians and VA so that they can reduce the trauma that a lot of our veterans feel after the fact, and their families, because we always forget that families are experiencing just as much of that.
Right.
Is that physical trauma or mental trauma or both?
Both.
So someone suffering from PTSD, for instance.
Absolutely.
Right.
Oh, that's interesting.
Can not just be war, right? I mean, you can have PTSD from a lot of life challenges, actually.
Absolutely.
Big T, little t, right?
Yep. Body keeps the score. I'm definitely a big fan of Bessel van der Kolk, and that we don't understand where our traumas sit in the body after we've experienced it. And sometimes it feels like we're reliving that all the time. And yoga is one of those tools that we can basically use to connect with the present and become conscious of where we are rather than where we think we are.
Now, I know there are different styles of yoga, and I don't know the names of them. Sorry.
No, there's tons of them.
There is. Is the yoga that you practice, is it derived from one of those styles? Or is it an amalgamation of a bunch of different things?
So I completed my training through Yoga Life Institute. Bob Butera basically runs a program. I had the benefit of, I guess, during COVID, being able to, do the advanced study, but the School of Yoga is called classical. So again, it connects much more into the philosophy of yoga rather than just the asanas or the postures, which is what I think we're most familiar with when we walk into a studio nearby. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when I think about when I started yoga, it was hot yoga, and that was all about the physical, right?
Yes.
It was like,
sweat it out,
sweat it out. She was like a sergeant. I was afraid of my yoga teacher, and her extent of spirituality was at the end. She'd be like, well, you've done a good thing here for yourself. Now go take care of everyone else. I was like, okay. And then like the first time I did Shavasana, I'm like, whoa, what is this? Like, I'm supposed to just lay here. And
that's the hardest pose of all.
I got things to do. Now I'm like, oh, yay, Shavasana.
That's still the hardest pose of all.
Yeah.
Why?
Because a lot of people don't know how to be.
Yeah.
And
I was just being there for a second. So
Very Joe. You did a good job. There's hope for you yet.
Well, think about all the people who have difficulty sleeping. All of a sudden you get into bed and your mind turns on.
Right.
And, you can't just turn off the thinking mind, or the monkey mind, as we often refer to it in yoga.
Mm-hmm.
And so, again, there's tools in yoga such as breath work. It's called pranayama, that allow us to sort of, again, reconnect that mind body and bring us into the present moment, rather than thinking about all the things that happened or the things that are about to happen.
Right. That worry
May
factor.
not even happen.
Right, exactly. The worry factor, which is interesting that you mentioned that, because I was just reading about how your body believes what your mind tells it, or
Yes.
your mind believes what you tell it, whatever, however that works. And it's like, if you
They're all
worry
liars.
about
They're all liars.
if you worry about something, it's actually like you were experiencing it.
Well, and that's the whole thing with our sympathetic nervous system.
Right.
It has the fight, flight, or freeze response. And again, the body doesn't know the difference.
Right.
So you can experience the same reaction to something that helps you survive the particular trauma. But after the fact, you could hear a noise, and then the sympathetic nervous system kicks in, and it's like it's happening all over again.
Right. Yeah. It's
And
like
it
your
isn't.
body remembers.
The body
Even though
remembers.
intelligently it's not really happening, your body's reacting separate from your.
Right. That's why many of us are stressed, anxious,
Mm-hmm.
worried is a big one. Again, we're a society of doers. I was one. I definitely,
Yes, absolutely.
was type A, always doing 5 things at once, multitasking. When you're off, it was like, okay, what can I do? Run, do all these physical activities. But the first time I remember taking even a meditation class, I was like, playing eye games with the instructor across from me, going, oh, he's staring at me. Stop staring at me. Is it over? Oh, it's only been 2 minutes. Oh my goodness.
I know.
Darn, I have to sit here for another 10.
Sometimes I meditate for like 7 minutes and it feels like a lifetime. But it's also a point of how powerful it is in such a short amount of time, even. Right now, of course, if you can do 45 minutes an hour, that's, oh my God, that's unusual. But even just that 7 minutes of trying to be.
Right.
Because I'm a constant goer too. And as a matter of fact, when I went to your class the other day, I had been going from one thing to the next. And I went to your class and it was great. We didn't leave the mat, which was amazing. But I also realized how messed up my body was. I took the time to sort of, through your class, feel everything that was going on. Because when you're going and going, you don't even have that moment to say, oh, wow, gosh, I'm really tight here, or I'm really feeling stressed here, or, it's in your body.
Where am I holding it?
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with peace or calm. So taking that opposite spectrum, sitting there and say, okay, Joe, when you feel
Don't pick on me.
Hey, when you feel at peace, where do you feel it? How do you feel it?
Yeah.
What does that mean to you?
You're not really asking me that.
I am asking.
Oh, I don't know.
We're interviewing you now.
I'm asking the questions here.
It's the juxtaposition of the two. I think, again, sometimes we are very in tune with our body and we feel like, okay, I feel this ache and pain. Yoga teaches us to become a little bit more aware of that and understand why. What is it trying to teach me? Where am I feeling it? Is it real? Is it my mind? What's it all about? And Joe brought up a good question about Shavasana. Shavasana is often, again, performed lying down. And a lot of people who are holding trauma have a hard time doing that. We don't know what's going on in them. They may have been physically assaulted, tons of things that I don't even necessarily want to talk about. So that laying down and or closing one's eyes is scary.
Yeah. Makes you feel vulnerable.
Yes, very scary. So there's no right way. That's sort of the methodology that I have evolved in my practices. There is no right way. You must not do it this way. You do what is comfortable for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if that means you look different than the person or the classmate next to you, that's okay. It's your practice. This is not synchronized swimming
Right.
where
Right.
everybody has to look the
Or it's
same.
not competitive.
Not
Where I've
competitive
been to
is a
those
big
kind of
thing.
classes too, and it's like, okay, I don't
Right.
think I want to compete in this.
So when you have a class, does the way you're instructing the class change depending upon who's in the class?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
If someone has a disability of some sort or had
Or
had,
the senior yoga, for instance.
Exactly. So the wonderful gift that I've received with teaching seniors is that, again, we all age, we all change. There are definitely things we're in different places. And often, again, in our head, we think we're supposed to be
Mm-hmm.
doing something. I hear often like, oh, I'm not flexible. I can't do yoga.
Right.
Yep,
Mhm.
exactly.
I'm raising my
so.
hand.
You do
Mm-hmm.
not need to already be flexible. And again, there's so much more to yoga than just the physical part. And there's this landscaping place that always has this kitschy little quote,
Right.
uh, and there's one time that I drove by last fall, and the quote that was up there basically said, start where you are, use what you have, do what you can. And
Mm-hmm.
I just
That's
love
great.
that
That's great.
because even in adaptive yoga, even post surgery, and I wasn't cleared yet for doing even physical therapy at that point, I'm like, I can do something.
Right.
I can still sit
Mm-hmm.
and be tall
Mm-hmm.
and try to
And breathe.
and breathe.
Yeah.
And as simple as that, sometimes holding the breath, people don't even understand that they're holding the breath and their shoulders are up by their ears. So in a class, the beauty of teaching yoga for seniors, particularly through like the Council of Aging or the libraries, you're not walking into a studio where everybody's in a fancy set of Lululemons or Vioris.
Right.
They're all wearing something different. And I can pull out chairs and
Yeah.
say, okay, here, you're unable to come to the mat. Why don't we start in the chair? And we have a mixed group of
Mm-hmm.
folks. Now, again, some people may find that odd, or the folks who are like power yoga people, like my style may not be for you, and that's okay. But I try to meet people where they are, and if the person sitting down is looking different than the person standing up, that's okay. We're all doing the same pose.
Okay, you said post surgery.
Post surgery,
Is
yes.
this what got you into yoga? Was
This is
some
what
kind of
got
injury?
me into it in a much more dedicated fashion. So I had experimented with it over the years. Again, my moving meditation was running. I loved to run. I was a run every day, did the races, did the marathons, did all that kind of stuff. And, I would start with some of the yoga. A lot of folks that I worked with did yoga, and I was like, yeah. And then all of a sudden, I was in the right place where that was something that I was lucky enough to embrace.
Mm-hmm.
And my teacher basically said, what would you like to do? I was like, I'd like to just touch my toes someday. That would be great if I could bend over and touch my toes.
Yeah.
And
And it didn't happen that day. But again, the very helpful quote or mantra that I take with me was take out the word I can't from your vocabulary. It's
Mm-hmm.
just not now. It's just not now.
okay, oh, that's interesting.
I like that a lot.
So your practice, describe who your clients, students. What I don't know what you call them. Describe who they are.
I guess students or the practitioners would be that. Clients would be anyone that I would be doing private yoga sessions or therapy with.
hmm
But a majority of the group classes or practices, I like to call them practices. The assumption with the word class is you're coming in, you're going to learn everything that you need to know, and then there's a perfect
Yeah. Yeah.
at some point. And there's no
No,
perfection.
there's no end goal, right?
There's no end goal.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. There's no end goal.
Well, it's kind of like in the medical or legal fields, they practice.
They practice exactly because there's no end.
Exactly. No,
Right.
they're
There's
always
always-
learning,
yep.
and it's not perfect.
It's always learning, always adapting,
Mhm.
and that's the big thing, adapting. So
And listening. Oh my God, just the listening part. That's
listening.
the big one. Listening to your body and
and again, just coming to the present. So if I were to ask you right now to sit upright in your chair and place your feet down.
Joe.
Okay. Again, don't pick
They're
on
up
me.
on the table. You can take them off.
No,
That's
no,
okay.
I had my ankles crossed under my chair.
Yeah, sit
All right.
symmetrically.
I'm doing it now.
And, feel the center of your heel pressing into the floor,
Okay.
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And notice your sitting bones.
My what?
Sitting
your
bones. Your butt.
Oh,
It's
sorry.
basically
Notice your
it's basically the end of your tailbone, your sit bones.
Okay.
Your sit bones.
Mm-hmm.
And then as you draw a breath, stretch your spine up. And then pause for a moment, feeling that dignified posture. And then as you breathe out, just let that spine stay where it is, but let everything sort of rest on it.
Boy, I feel better already. How's that feel, Joe?
A little awkward.
Yeah, you know
Now,
what?
why do you feel awkward?
It's an audio podcast, and we're being very quiet.
Nobody can see us. I know what we're going to do for our video promotion.
Oh, maybe.
Nobody can see you squeezing your butt.
Well, I noticed that I automatically close my eyes.
That's an interesting observation.
Yeah, because then if you close your eyes, I guess it takes some of the distraction away of like if you're trying to like get down into your body. It's just, I don't know, it just helps me concentrate on what's going on.
Well,
What
and
I'm
in
feeling.
and in the 8 limbs of yoga. So again, in the Western world, we're familiar with this term called asana, our poses. We go to a yoga studio. We typically plow through all our poses, do our warrior series, stretch out, and again, move it on out.
Mm-hmm.
In the 8 limbs of yoga, there are all of these different pieces that sort of lead us to something called samadhi, which is our bliss, our integration with mind, body, universe sort of connection. And that might be the woo woo that you were talking about, that men are like, oh, woo woo woo. Particularly if you go to a yoga class where they're using mantras and doing the
Yes.
om
And the
and all that kind of
chanting, yeah.
stuff and ringing the bells. And, I'll do a little bit of that, like the little bells sometimes, but it's not all about that. But part of it is also one of those limbs is a disconnection from the senses.
Mm-hmm.
So think about how you love doing the podcast and like time disappears. So in yoga, we can practice yoga just by disconnecting from the senses, trying to find that place where we're comfortable and so into whatever it is that we're doing. That
Right.
could be gardening, that could be our yoga, that could be a whole bunch of things where all of a sudden it's like, oh wow, 25 minutes just went by.
Right.
Don't even know that happened.
Yeah.
So yoga gives us the tools to sort of help that disconnection and center with ourselves.
If somebody wanted to learn more about adaptive yoga,
Or just getting started with yoga.
Sure.
Yeah, especially
Yes.
in our age group, 60
if
plus.
that's the question you want to ask, sure.
Hey.
You both can ask questions.
I know. How could someone learn more about adaptive yoga?
In numerous ways. So, depending on where your audience is, obviously, we live in a very connected world. You can go online and Google. There are a multitude of very good teachers out there. Again, if you want to specifically learn a little bit about adaptive yoga in the sense of it being accessible to people who have, again, disabilities of some sort, are not able-bodied like we expect people to be. Mind Body Solutions, again by Matthew Sanford. You could look online to my website, which is www.chrishoweyoga.com. There are various videos. There's numerous ways to do that. One of the things I also didn't talk about was the Veterans Yoga Project. And there's a lovely organization there, nonprofit, that basically offers free online yoga classes to veterans, first responders, military families. So again, costs nothing to participants. And there are a multitude of styles of yoga that are taught through volunteer-based
Mm-hmm.
teacher affiliation. And those are some of the few that I would recommend.
Right. And if you're a senior, I guess going through the
And if you're a
seniors-
senior, I strongly recommend visiting your local Council of Aging.
Mhm. I also like the restorative yoga. I think that's another good search terminology for somebody
Julian
who
Pransky.
somebody
highly
who's just
recommend her.
trying to get into it, try a restorative yoga class, because I think that's a
Yes.
really good way to feel your body,
Absolutely.
as well as feeling better when you get up out of a 45-minute class or an hour's class after restorative. You feel better. It's amazing.
And if all you have time for is 2 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
take a breath.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm sitting up on my sitting bones.
And you're breathing.
I'm breathing.
Good.
All right. It's been great, Chris. This is very informative. I didn't even know that this style of yoga existed. So thank you.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
this is great. So
Glad to
thank
be
you
here.
so much.
Thank you for having me.
And we'll have everything in the show notes so that people can find you and people can find their solutions, and it'll be great.
Very good. All right. That's it for this week's episode of the 60 Plus podcast. I'm Joe.
I'm Janet. Bye.